Took the dash out basically because I want to try to repair these cracks. Got this cracked dash, gonna try to repair, cutting it out with a Dremel tool and using actual foam spray and a little Bondo. So there's one side cut out. Just used a normal little abrasive wheel and a Dremel tool. Kind of cut it at an angle going through and then just channeled it out like that until I got down to some metal. See how it works. But you know, deeper you got, better the foam looked. I think it'll be okay to leave a little bit in there. I'll do the same to this side. Not really too worried about this area. I'm gonna just kind of fill it. This is covered up with the grating. Never see it. There it is, cut out, ready to be filled. I just remembered and noticed as I was cleaning this off, I must have flipped, while flipping this over, cleaning the bottom side, set it on something and cracked it there. So I will go ahead and cut this out and fill this little spot too. And we'll just have to be very careful with this dash going forward because it is very fragile. Definitely not as easy cutting a circle. And I got this little bevel here also. So see what I did? I just kind of scored it up, and now I'll just dig this out with something, chisel, screwdriver, something like that, and then come and clean it up with my Dremel tool. There it is, ready for filler. Cleaned up fairly well, not perfectly clean, but and I do have a couple little spots here. I'm just going to try to fill those with Bondo without cutting them out. See how it goes. Can always fix it later if I need to. I mean, a little paint, you'll never even notice. That shit expands like crazy. Yeah, I've only ever squirted this in, like, you know, door frames or in walls or places you don't ever see. I never realized how much it actually expands. This is 10 minutes in, it's still really soft. I let it firm up and and I'll have some cutting to do. So, and pro tip number one, don't use tools that you plan on using again, because it does not wash off. Guess I have to get a grinder to that, clean it up, maybe some acetone, I think it said, take it off, but we'll see. All right, I think it's hard. It's been a couple hours. Just gonna try my pocket knife, see how it goes, cut it out. I end up using Dremel tool some, and figuring out some way to kind of sand it down. There you go. Cut out with pocket knife, sand it down with just the 80 grit soft sanding block. Try to get it down a little bit lower than the vinyl so that the Bondo can settle in there. The idea of this was just to fill up the big part, and we'll get the rest with the Bondo. All right, this is 2 applications of Bondo. Still got a little valley in these spots. You know, sand them down in between each application, all the way back down to the vinyl on the sides. Trying to start to shape this edge a little bit. I'll probably have to get a Dremel tool or something to come along in here to kind of recreate that edge best I can. Probably not gonna be perfect, but it will look better than it did for sure. It's getting closer. See this side where the dark gray is? That's little valleys there. Almost got it. This side's a little worse, needs more work. You know, I started out wider on this side, but you know, it's not much. Maybe one more coat, maybe 2. and a little bit right there. And I started rounding out these corners with the Dremel tool. Not gonna worry about this, just paint over that. That'll be under the vent. These two little cracks are pretty much done. So I think this will be my last little patch job of Bondo there. Getting real close. I like everything. A little dip right there, but it's nice and smooth. There's dips all through this dashboard, so you know, none of it's flat. So you know, a little dip here and there, I don't think it's going to matter too much as long as it's smooth. There was a little pinhole here I had to fill. It's a little rough through here, little valleys that were not sanding out. Little pinhole there, and just trying to get these edges filled up a little bit. And using my Dremel tool on these, kind of round them off, take the soft sanding block, smooth out the edge. Taking the Dremel tool in these corners, I'm gonna fit the grill back in there in a little bit, make sure everything looks good. And yeah, it's coming along, looks pretty good. And doing a little Simops here, almost got my Amazon headliner in. Looking pretty good, matches the maroon paint job. I like it. All right, got my roof complete other than the two cross members. I'll put them back in when I have a welding project down here on the floor, replacing these floor pans. When I have all that rigged up, I'll go ahead and weld them in. They just tack in right there. You can see where I cut them out. Just like two little tack welds on each side, and I think one spot weld on each side. It was same way on all three of them. They're really easy to cut out, and they got little tabs, so they'll be supported when they go back in there. You know, it should be easy to tack back up. But yeah, ready to move along. My plan is to work my way down. Just kind of do rust treatment, grinding off rust scale, cleaning up, and come down here. You got to get inside where these quarter panel windows are. A lot of rust down in the bottom there. Start working my way down the back of the seat. I believe that's my sequential blinker set up there. We'll take that out, see if all that's working, because my blinkers weren't working. But yeah, that's it. Got to get to work. So setting the grill in, that shows up more than I thought. I mean, that's kind of following the original line. If there was a gap there, I'll probably try to close that a little bit. Maybe put a little Bondo over that foam right there. But, you know, it'll be spray painted black. You won't see it up underneath the windshield. It'll probably never be seen, but I can fill that in a little bit. This side's a little better. There's a little fitment issue down here too. I gotta grind some of that out below there. It's not quite sitting down. Yeah, well, there it goes. Yeah, actually it sits pretty good. But yeah, I'll fix this area in here a little bit. Little crack right there, put a little Bondo over. Be good. All right, I'm gonna start adding a little paint, see how it looks. Clean up the vinyl. Come back and get this metal stuff later. Tape off the vinyl, hit it. Just using some Duplicolor vinyl fabric, black. See how it goes. Okay, I don't hate it. It's not terrible, but you can see right here where I sanded the Bondo all the way where there was none on the vinyl. You can see the edge versus like right here. You see I left some Bondo on this side and you can't see the edge. So it tells me I'm gonna have to, yeah, basically just cover that little crack leave a little bit of Bondo on the side, a little raised edge. Probably have to use my soft block where I was using my hard block on this mostly because it's real flat. And same on this side. You can see like right there, it looks fine. Got a crack there. Right there, it looks, yeah, a little crack, but then down here it's fine. And again, this is a flat area using hard block, curved area using a soft block. So it's kind of a lesson learned. I got a few little pinholes up here, but I'm not as worried about cosmetics on this part. It's mainly just this top part that you'll see a lot. So let this dry, sand it down, and you know, apply a little more Bondo, a little more sanding. You know, nothing to it. Other than that, it looks pretty good. You know, I might try to, yeah, I gotta do a little bit better with this edge right here. Round it a little more. This one looks pretty good. It follows the natural curve of the seam. A little bit of sanding I could do right there, but overall, yeah, this will work. Went a little different route. This last coat I put a thin layer of Bondo, sanded it down. Could still kind of see the seam, so I went over it with a primer instead of the vinyl coating, which I know this paint, not supposed to put it on vinyl, but this stuff is hard and it's not going to be moving, you're not going to be sitting on it. So then I went with a 150 grit sandpaper, and I think that's going to smooth it out. Probably a couple coats of primer, a little bit of sanding, and I don't think you'll be able to see it anymore. All right, there she is. It's not perfect, but it's much better than it was. You can still see the lines. Honestly, just kind of gave up on the sanding and refilling, and had a weird issue when I put this paint over it and I went to a finer grit sandpaper. I started getting little bubbles developing in this paint as I would sand. And I have to get a rougher sandpaper and come sand them down, and then it would get me back to the Bondo, and there'd be no paint, and I'd just be starting over every time. So I just said, you know what, we're just gonna paint it, live with it. When you're standing right underneath the LED lights, you can see it, but you know, in just daylight, standing off from it, you really can't see it. But I mean, overall, I'm happy with it. It looks much better than it did. And you know, it's a daily driver car. We're not looking for perfection, but you know, it definitely looks better, and it saved us a lot of money going this route versus sending it off, getting it redone, or just buying a new dash in general.